All right, so I'm back. I didn't realize that Screencast-O-Matic, you get 15 minutes. So I guess I have 5 more minutes here on a new recording. I left off talking about how the dietary intervention for the methods will have to be very specific. For the intervention for the strength and conditioning program, the 8-week program, we'll have to do pre-intervention measures of strength, power, speed, athleticism, body composition, and ketone levels, blood ketone levels. And we're going to do that 2 weeks prior to the strength and conditioning protocol beginning. And the measures I have include bench press, broad jump, 40-yard dash, a Z drill, which is an agility drill, and then a DEXA scan. And after the intervention is over, the 8-week strength and conditioning program, we'll come back, do those same measures of strength, power, speed, athleticism, body composition, ketone levels shortly after the strength and conditioning program concludes. The population or the subjects, and I've thought long and hard about this in terms of how many, who, and I've really come to the conclusion that I need a decent sized sample, but any more than about 20 people, especially when half that group is going to be provided with meals, I don't think it's going to be feasible to do a much larger group than that. And I also thought that college-age student population would be a good subject group, considering they, in many cases, are still at an athletic age, still a relatively healthy age, one that we don't have a lot of concerns about in terms of risk factors and other things like that. We would want them to have a recent physical examination. We want them to be relatively healthy. Obviously, if there's cardiovascular risk factors, we don't want them to participate. We don't want them having recent injuries, ACL tears, shoulder problems, things that would limit them in a strength and conditioning program. And things that would potentially be compromised by dietary intervention. We do want those that are competent in basic lifting techniques. We don't want people participating who need to be taught how to bench press, taught how to do certain things, people who are relatively athletic. So we'd have to be somewhat selective in terms of the people who would participate. We don't want people who are diabetic because of the obvious potential problems with carbohydrate restrictions in the short term. And we don't want anybody who's already in low-carb ketogenic diets. We want to take a group that's carb-dependent at this point and be able to split them off and see what inducing ketosis does for our intervention group. Again, the research methods we're looking at before and after outcome measures, how many repetitions they can do in bench press. More than likely, this would revolve around maybe some kind of body weight. So if a person's 135 pounds, we'd get a sense of how many times can they do 135. Attempt to get a 1 repetition maximum from that. So may have to play around with the bench press outcome. Broad jump distance, pretty clear there. Again, the Z drill, which is basically moving in a Z pattern, both laterally forward, and that is a basic strength conditioning drill for agility. Again, DEXA scan and blood ketone levels are the preference as well. And then, as I mentioned, these are the measurements we're looking at: max reps of body weight and bench press, broad jump, 40-yard dash, Z drill, DEXA, and blood ketone levels. Ketosis cutoff being 2 millimoles, and that, based on the research, that's what gives us a sense that a person is in a state of ketosis. Statistical analysis, this is a little bit underdeveloped. Obviously, we're looking at something that's longitudinal in nature, and we're doing before and after, so a t-test makes the most sense. I did just finish quantitative analysis, but not feeling real strong about how this is developed. But again, we're looking at pre and post test on bench press versus whether or not they were in a state of ketosis, pre and post test, broad jumps, so on and so forth. So we're really kind of getting a sense of their outcomes, and if they were in ketosis, did that have a positive outcome or did it have a negative outcome? In terms of limitations, again, this is going to be a difficult study to manage. Sample size is going to have to stay small in order for this to be manageable. We do want to do blood ketone levels. Obviously, that's going to require some invasive procedures. but breath and urine ketone levels are not what we want ideally. And obviously, we're making some assumptions about athleticism, and especially or specifically anaerobic athleticism. Obviously, that's subjective, so being careful about how we define that. We're going to need access to DEXA. There's not many places that offer that, so we're going to have to find somebody who can run those. I did just hear that DEXA scanners actually have to be operated by somebody with a license, so we're going to have to find somebody that can do that. We have to be able to conduct our assessments in a reliable manner, so making sure that whoever's interpreting what a bench press repetition is, that's the same interpretation that's done later on. We definitely need access to the proper equipment. We need space, we need timers, and we need to make sure those tests are run the right way. Obviously, the meals for the ketogenic diet are going to have to be done very well. They're going to have to be properly formulated. They're going to have to work to induce ketosis. And again, there's going to have to be some thought put into this. Do we need supplementation? Do we need fasting to better induce that? And so these are my references. Obviously, there's a considerable amount, and I've integrated these, but a lot of research out there, but not a lot on this particular subject. I look forward to your feedback on this. Hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving. Go Pack Go on Wisconsin, and I will talk to you all soon. Thank you.